And what you're seeing here is the inside of SV Corsair, a 1980 Cabo Rico 38. And I think I've shown everyone the interior before, but probably with not such a good quality video as the GoPro provides. It's a spacious enough boat, even though it is a full keel, and it is 11-foot 6-inch beam. As you'll see, I'm quite tall, and in certain areas I can't stand up all the way. Although there's this perfect little 1-foot wide area in the boat right here between the galley and the salon, where the cabin roof is a little bit higher, but the sole drops down about 2 inches. And hey, look, I've got headroom. I'm 6'5", and I've got headroom right here in this little area. So this is where I do anything that requires me to stand all the way up or to turn my head. This is my comfort zone right here. Everywhere else I've learned the little radar in my head to sort of slouch. And so when I'm walking through the boat, everywhere else, I try to keep my head down a little bit, scrunch up my neck, and it gets tight up here in the front, a little more tight up in the front where the head and the V-berth are. But I've gotten quite good at it. When I first was staying on the boat, I was bumping my head a lot, and now I've got the radar on, I know where everything is, and I rarely bump my head. So that's, I think you're getting a fisheye, or the wide-angle view of the boat, the salon. The camera is sitting right below the companionway on a little extrusion there that protects the breaker panel. Yeah, so I'll take you around. So now I have the camera sitting on top of a light fixture just against the wall, the bulkhead, sorry, nautical term, bulkhead of the salon that separates the salon from the head. And we're looking back at the companionway and the galley. The galley's, I wouldn't call it huge for a 38-foot boat. In later models, the Cabo Rico, they extended out this bulkhead to right about here and extended out the icebox or refrigerator to a much another 2 or 3 feet. Nice stove on a gimbal mount, very deep icebox here with a cold plate DC system, and it keeps my drinks and my yogurt and other snacks nice and cold. I don't do any cooking on the boat so far. I've never turned on, I've never even checked to see if the propane tanks are full. That's something I need to do. I've been surfing the internet looking for a really small microwave. Apparently they make small microwaves that you can heat up, say a cup of soup in, or something simple. But I haven't got that yet. So really what I do is I make sandwiches. If I'm eating on the boat, I make sandwiches. I eat yogurt, fruit cocktail, and fresh fruit. But to be honest, so far I've been going out to eat a lot, which is not bad. Here in the area of Harrington Harbor south, there's a couple of reasonably decent restaurants, and if you drive over to Harrington Harbor North, there's a couple over there. It is quite a rural area, so there's not a huge selection. If you want something fancy, you need to drive 30 minutes to get up to Annapolis and get, you know, anything you want in Annapolis. Obviously got double sinks over here, covered by these wood, I guess what would you call these? Almost like chopping blocks, but they're wood covers. Also don't use a sink since I'm not cooking on the boat. I don't use them much. So this whole area over here other than the refrigerator is not overly utilized. I do have utensils and everything. My wife came up and made sure I was fully stocked and chastised me for not cooking on the stove, but I'll get around to it. I don't cook much. I guess that's another skill I need to learn. Here in the companionway, we've got the breaker panel. Most of the breaker switches here are here, although there is a small breaker panel in the quarter berth that was added on later. Engine is very accessible from right under the companionway steps, although they're a bit of a bear. You've got to unlatch, flip a couple of latches, and sort of manhandle this whole companionway stair set and insulated box, fiberglass box, out over here and set it down so you can access the engine. But once you get that open, once you get that companionway set of stairs moved back, you've got great access to the engine. crawl around in there to your heart's content. Also not something that I've done too much of, but obviously I open it before we go out every time, check the oil, check the raw water strainer, make sure everything is as it should be. Yeah, the two berths are nice. This berth over here extends out to a double. This whole support slides out, and then you have some supports that go underneath it. It slides out. This cushion lays down flat together and fills the space perfectly so that you have a double berth. That's a single, can be used as a pilot berth at sea. I often sit there or lie down there and read at night. Over here we've got the main AC vent for the reverse cycle AC unit that was installed, and you probably hear that running a little bit in the background. Great storage on this boat, good lockers, got the autopilot control right there. This is sort of my electronics locker where I put electronics that are not in use. Underneath both settees there's lockers, and then of course you can lift the settees and get access and underneath, and then behind the settees obviously there's good storage there. A lot of storage on this boat. It was really set up to go offshore and carry a lot of provisions. Table, centerline table, it's latched down, the leaves are latched down, but both leaves can sit up. And you've got really seating there, easy seating for 6. Normally at night I'll extend this leaf and put my computer here and sit there and work on my computer, and then maybe move over to the couch and lounge there and read a magazine or catch up on the news on the internet. Right, so just to starboard as you come down the companionway is the quarter berth, and it's a nice size quarter berth. Easily sleep 2 people in there. You might not want to sit up too quickly in the middle of the night, but other than that, it's got good space. There's some nice lockers in there as well. You've got plenty of storage with under the berth, as well as a couple of lockers there, some hanging lockers. This locker is where I currently keep all the life preservers. And this locker has all the various equipment for sailing. Extra shackles, winch handles, that sort of thing, sail ties. There's a nice hatch. Of course it's covered up right now as protect the wood on the outside. But you can open that hatch and get real good ventilation and good light. And what's really nice is this port light here that faces into the cockpit. So if you're underway, short-handed sailing, one person on watch, one person taking a nap, it's real easy to communicate via that port light. And of course, got communications gear in here. There really is no nav station, so this little table here and the quarter berth really serve as the underway cabin if you're offshore and making a passage. I mentioned earlier there's another breaker panel. There's the breaker panel that was obviously an afterthought, added at some point when people added additional systems. We've got energy monitor here, battery meter. Right. See a little bit of water accumulating there in the port lights. That's just, we had a massive rainstorm last night, and that'll evaporate out real quick. Right, then moving forward in the boat past the salon, just here on the port side we have this cabinet, a little tabletop. The bottom part is where the AC unit is now housed, and above that you've got a small locker with some additional storage in there. Immediately across from that is the head shower. Obviously it's a self-contained head and shower unit, no separate shower, but it's good size, comfortable enough. I can actually sit down and close the door, which is important when you have long legs. And then moving forward from the head, There's another hanging locker to port, and then you're into the V-berth. And the V-berth is sufficiently large enough. I'm 6'5", I can lay down no problem, stretch out. 2 people in here, plenty of room. 3 people might be a little cozy. Again, very good light and ventilation from overhead hatch, large overhead hatch we open on a cool night. In the forward part of the V-berth, you have the anchor locker. I suppose you can see that up there. The doors, the hatches that give access to the anchor locker, chain locker. So there you have it, another tour of SV Corsair. Hopefully you have a better appreciation for what it's like inside the boat. And we very much appreciate you visiting our YouTube channel. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more adventures with SV Corsair. In fact, this afternoon we have colleagues coming out, and we're going to cast off the lines and go out sailing in the Chesapeake Bay. Got a beautiful forecast, wind forecast at 12 to 15 out of the south, and that gives a lot of fetch in the bay, and we should have some little rolling waves. It should be a very sporty day out on the bay, and we'll do our best to put together a little video documenting our time out on the water.